Shall we begin?
Let's get started. Hey, Mom, can I have $20?
I gave you $20 yesterday. Hey, this is Stephanie. I want to tell you about one of our sponsors today. Dakota Faye Photography is owned by one of my former students. She took the great pictures of us that you see on the website, and she does all kinds of photo shoots for any occasion. Check her out on Instagram at Dakota Faye with an E _ photography and on Facebook. And if you mention our podcast, she'll give you $20 off your first session. Give Dakota a call today. It's 361-489-0089.
Another one of our sponsors today is Gulf Coast Car Wash. They are family owned and operated for over 25 years in the Crossroads area. They are located at 2901 Sam Houston Drive in Victoria, Texas. Right now, our listeners can get $5 off the deluxe package and the soft touch automatic wash with code 37330. Again, that code is 37330. Check out Gulf Coast Car Wash.
Would you say I'm a perfectionist?
Absolutely not.
No?
No.
Okay, so I don't think I am either. And I've heard people tell me that I'm an overthinker or that I am a perfectionist, and those things kind of go together. So today we're talking actually about procrastination. And when I started looking into it, there's 6 different types of procrastinator, and one of them is perfectionist. And I'm really not that bad at procrastinating either, but if I do, it's the perfectionist one. So I wanted to tell you a little about them, but I had to know first whether that was really my problem. I think there's another one here that I think suits me better. Okay,
well, which
so
one do you think I am?
See, I don't know if you procrastinate either. If you do, it would be for the same reason that I am. I think you might be a worrier procrastinator, which all of these have an underlying cause. Whatever reason that you procrastinate, there's something, it's usually a fear, that is keeping you from getting started on the task. Do you procrastinate?
I do, but it's, you know those posts that say, when you spent 6 months worrying about the thing that took you 7 minutes to handle?
Yes.
That's me.
Okay, so you're probably the worrier. Okay, so let me go through what some of these are. And I got these from the University of Maryland. Honestly, I'm not exactly sure what it is. I think this was a guide that a student had posted to go along with a lesson taught at the University of Maryland. So this is really just a list of all the types of procrastinators and what they do. So we'll go through them kind of quickly. The first one is perfectionist, and they spend a lot of time and energy trying to get everything perfect. The underlying reason for this is that they fear failure or doubt doing it the right way, which is just another form of failure. You know, either I can't make it happen or it's going to be less than perfect. They also, I thought this was interesting, and this is the part that really appealed to me, was they tend to see everything in life as things that have to be done and not necessarily things they want to do.
Oh, I do that too.
So,
I have to get these things done.
Yes. Instead of I want a clean house, it's I have to vacuum and sweep the floors. That was what spoke to me as well. The next one is the dreamer procrastinator, and it's so funny because I hear these and I immediately think of people I know. So I have a student in particular that this makes me think of, that basically they're big picture thinkers, and so it's really hard to get this task down to something that they can manage. They tend to recoil at anything that's uncomfortable. If it's distressing or challenging, they say, oh no, that's a gargantuan task and I don't think I can do it. But it's because they're not fact or detail oriented. I don't know if I agree with this, but this paper also says they tend to think of themselves as special people for whom fate will intervene, making hard work and efficiency unnecessary. Who thinks like that?
I think I know what student you're talking about now.
Oh, the next one is the worrier procrastinator, and I thought this one would be just as appropriately termed the fearful procrastinator, because they tend to be indecisive and fail to commit themselves to a decision once they make one. So when you say, tomorrow I am cleaning out that front closet, and then tomorrow comes and I don't want to clean out the closet. I call that approach anxiety. I don't even know if that's a real thing, but that's what I call it. They also tend to lack confidence, and I think that's the bottom line right there, is because they're dependent on others for advice and reassurance and tend to resist change. I think the resistance to change is because you get in a groove of what you know you can do and what you can accomplish, and anything outside of that is things to worry about.
Well, you've already mastered that level, and so why would I go out of that where I haven't mastered?
Yes, yeah. Because it seems really huge. That's the whole not knowing how to eat an elephant. And, of course, the way you do it is one bite at a time. The next one is the defier procrastinator. And I have to say, these are the humans that I have the worst trouble with, I think, in my whole life. They tend to see life in terms of what others expect or require of them, instead of seeing requests as a request of something I would like you to do. And so they tend to avoid expressing negative feelings, but they express it by procrastinating. And so it's a show against authority to challenge and things like that. And it says they tend to be pessimistic, undercutting their motivation to complete tasks. So they're really shooting themselves in the foot.
This reminds me of another student.
We do have all kinds there at Futures Academy, but that's what makes it work. We're all a bunch of misfits, is what we like to call ourselves. But yeah, this fits a lot of people who just say, oh, that sounds like a fun project. Wait, it's due Thursday? I'm not doing that.
Or this assignment is stupid, I'm not doing it.
Yes. Yeah, that's very interesting, because in a student, I immediately know that that's a cue for it's difficult, but it never occurred to me that it's also just defiance, that it's the just don't want to's. The crisis maker is the one who everything is just too big. Never mind that we are all working on this project together or that we all have the same thing due. They're the ones who put it off because there is something else going on. They first ignore the task, but when they get into it, they do tend to be very involved. So they put it off because often it's boring or dull and just doesn't appeal to them, because I think they're the adrenaline seekers or the dopamine seekers, or, they need the feel goods all the time. And so a really big task that seems challenging or doesn't give them the feel good they seek.
I kind of relate to that one too, because I remember in school when we'd read a book and I'm not reading this book. It doesn't sound good. But if I would read the book, I would have enjoyed it, because I do enjoy reading, and I do enjoy different types of stories, and I can appreciate different characters and the writer's point of views and all the things. And so I did enjoy it once I got into it. But that was a task that I was like, too big. I don't want to read that book and do all the assignments with it. No.
It's funny, because I tend to do that also when I'm preparing those lessons for students to read the book, that I think, oh my gosh, this is huge. They're not going to do it. I'm going to do all this work and not get anything out of it. So I have a little bit of that one too.
Well, and also things like assignments that go with the books. Like last year you did, what was it, the Hunger Games?
Yes, that was this year. I know, it seems like forever ago.
And you did all the chapter assignments with them. Well, you did it with Matilda last year too.
Yes, I did.
And I remember doing those assignments myself, thinking, why aren't y'all turning these in? They're so easy if you just read the book.
Yes.
But the thought of, I've got to read the book and do all the questions with every single chapter, which they were easy questions, like I said, if you read the book. And everyone, they could have been easy grades,
Well, the last one is the overdoer procrastinator. And I think people who know me well would say that this one is me, but I disagree about the reason. So it says these people tend to suffer from low self-esteem, which causes them to take on more work than they can really handle, because they have a need to say, I can do it without help. They also have trouble saying no, but the reason for that is that they lack true self-discipline and true self-esteem, especially in regard to personal needs. So they're really bad about not taking care of themselves in an effort to take care of other people. They also find it really hard to relax. So when you're not doing something, that just has to be done, that you've put off and now it's urgent, you have trouble relaxing. And for me, there's always the shoulds. I should be doing this. I should have finished that. I should get up and do this. I can't just sit here and scroll or, binge an hour of mindless TV without feeling like I'm supposed to be doing something else.
I probably do this one a little bit too.
So fortunately, there's hope. If you're listening and have identified yourself in one of these, the perfectionist, the dreamer, the worrier, the defier, the crisis maker, and the overdoer. If you see yourself in any of those, there's hope. There are solutions. There are practical reasons. I'm a firm believer that if you understand your reasons for things, only then can you begin to change them. So I'm going to share a few of those with you, starting again with the perfectionist. So if you're the perfectionist, this one's for you.
Howdy, friends. My name is Caitlin, and I'm the owner of Flour and Butter Home Bakery out of Cuero, Texas. In a world full of overly processed foods, dyes, and preservatives, we are proud to create our products with organic and farm-fresh ingredients. We specialize in breads, pastries, and all things sweet. We are open for caterings and pop-up markets. You can find us at Flour and Butter on Facebook and Instagram, or contact 361-571-1125. We can't wait to hear from you.
So, if you're the perfectionist, this one is for you. So, the bottom line is that you need a change of perspective.
Okay.
That's what it really amounts to. You need to strive for excellence rather than perfection, because that's simply not a thing. Most people would agree that only one person has ever been perfect, and you ain't him. So give up on perfection. Excellence is just as good. It doesn't have to be perfect. What goes along with that is give up the all or nothing thinking, where if I can't get it perfect, I shouldn't do it at all. I heard myself once described as a failed perfectionist in a magazine that I read, because I will leave the basket of laundry sitting out because I'm not going to fold it until I can fold it all and put it away.
I do that one too, and that's why River's room looks like that.
I'm so sorry I gave that one to you.
Yeah, that is me hardcore. In fact, I will do that tonight when I get home. Okay,
so forget about making it perfect is the trick here.
Let's just get rid of one at a time. So it's
Yes.
kind of just hold yourself to lower standards. You don't have to.
It really is. And that the bottom one says make a to-do list that's short and practical. And so if giving yourself a time limit and creating a deadline works for you, it also says change your have to's to want to's, but that sort of, I don't know, to me that's pretend, and that's never really worked for me. But if that kind of thinking works for you, it's a change in perspective.
Yeah, I kind of do that one a little bit because I'm a list maker. And
Yes.
so one of the things I do is I'll make a big to-do list of things I need to get done by the end of the week. Well, really what I should do is make what can I get done today and what would I like to get done if I have extra time or extra energy, whatever. You know, I need to clean out the litter box, but if I can fold this load of clothes before she lays down for a nap, let's add that on too. Because I think that also will build your confidence so you can do more.
That is part of it, and that one probably fits a little more in one of the others that we'll talk about in a minute. So we'll come back to that. So one of the things that you need to do as a dreamer procrastinator is differentiate between dreams and goals. So one goal is for me to shower and get dressed today, but a dream is for me to someday win an Oscar for my shower singing performance. Do they give Oscars for singing? I don't even know. I haven't watched an award show in a minute. But the difference in a dream and a goal. So you have to go, step out of my dream world and focus on this goal that I have for today. Which, may be something even more long term. It doesn't have to be something today. But if you're looking for another job, just sitting around waiting till someday looking for a job gets easy, that's not going to happen. You have to make the decision to do it.
I can kind of relate to that one too a little bit because things like my husband getting a new job, we're hoping to make thousands and thousands of dollars in the next few years, but we're not going to do it if neither of us went to school, applied for the promotion or whatever.
So setting those goals and actually doing them helps. And for a dreamer type person, you have to make things concrete. So break your big picture up into smaller pictures. If I accomplish the first part of this task, and visualize that and attack it as you would anything else. But do it in small pieces. And once you get the ball rolling, it tends to go faster. The next one is the worrier and the fearful. First thing you have to recognize is that to not make a decision is a decision. You're making a decision to not do it. And then commit. You really have to commit. This is the one that requires self-confidence. So each day, do one thing that you have been consciously putting off. You know, that one basket of clothes that you need to sort out because she's outgrown some of those things. They need to be donated. They need to be trashed. They need to be washed, whatever. Do one thing that you've been putting off, and then each week do something you're generally uncomfortable doing. You know, go talk to strangers, or I have no idea what makes people uncomfortable, but break down everything that's intimidating to something smaller. And that builds confidence because, hey, look what I've accomplished already. I did that thing that intimidates me. I got a task done every day this week that I didn't think I was going to be able to do.
Yeah.
The defier, you just, you need an attitude adjustment if you're a defier person. Like I said, these are hard for me anyway. Basically strive to act rather than react. The bottom line is you take control. You need to be the one who feels like you're in charge. Ladies, now, a lot of you have heard the advice from, you know, I guess old wives' tale, that if you want your husband to appreciate or agree with a decision you make, you have to make him believe he made it. That it was his idea. And that's kind of how you work with a defier procrastinator too, is either you or they have to outsmart themselves to be able to say, hey, this is something I want to do. I'm going to get something out of this by accomplishing it. And also, even if you absolutely must fit in someone else's box, do something specific that satisfies you. Do it your way.
I think this one is going to be relatable for parents, especially of parents of toddlers. That's
true. I'm not taking age into consideration.
Because this probably could have helped Sheridan clean her room for years if we had made her think it was her idea.
That's probably true. Maybe we should do that more with her now. I hope she doesn't listen to this episode. She's going to know our tricks.
Sorry, sis.
Just diming you out like crazy. The crisis maker, one thing that I thought was really key is identify other self-motivators besides stress. If you're a person who feels like you work well under pressure, you thrive on deadlines, you come alive at the 11th hour, you are a crisis maker procrastinator. I'm not that anymore. I was when I was younger. When I was in college, I was the one staying up all night finishing the essay, things like that. You know, I'm going to put that last load in the dryer in the morning before you have to wear it to work. I tend to be that kind of under pressure person. So basically learn to, you know, you're not going to avoid those because you thrive on those situations, but learn to manage them more successfully. So it doesn't become a crisis. You get the adrenaline rush, but it's not a crisis.
Doesn't that kind of go hand in hand with the last one that you have, the overdoer? Because you're kind of, the waiting till last minute is really a big thing. That must be a thing a lot of people do.
And all of these most of them are based in some sort of fear. The inability to tackle the task for what it is. Mm-hmm. And we all procrastinate for different reasons. The first time I ever encountered someone, it was a student who was a true procrastinator. And I would ask her, why didn't you get this done? And she said, I just didn't want to. It didn't interest me. It didn't feel good to me. And so that was a student that I gave that permission to. Well, then how would you like to accomplish this? Fine. Don't make a poster. Don't write an essay. How would you like to convey your information to me? You will get the most amazing results. And this is true if you do this for employees, if you do this for your teenagers, if you do this for your partner, to be able to say, how would this work best for you? Do you need extra pressure? Do you need me to help you break it down into small pieces? And, that way, maybe they're not really defying.
Or can you give me a presentation versus a poster?
Yes.
I think that's similar to giving them the control, like you said before, making them think it's their idea almost.
Right.
Okay, fine. Do it how you want to do it,
That's one thing, and I do have to do the shameless plug here because Futures Academy is also one of our sponsors today. But that's one of the great things that we do at Futures Academy is for that procrastinator, I gave her permission to do it her way. I had given an assignment one day where I told students that they were going to have to present in front of the class. And of course, some students are horrified. Even in our much safer, respectful environment that you would find in any public school, they're terrified to speak. And a mom told me, if you gave them the option of turning it in on video, most of them would do it. And I found that to be true. And they ham it up.
Oh, they know how to make a TikTok.
Yes.
We got this.
Yes. I had one boy that turned in his final project from the Hunger Games, where he was live at the Capitol reporting from the Hunger Games. He was wearing a bright yellow tie that was blowing in the wind. He had a tube, like the extender tube from your vacuum cleaner hose. He's holding that for the microphone, and you're not really noticing for a minute, but there's two people in the back fighting in this wide open field. They're just wrestling back there, throwing, and he's talking like there's nothing happening. It was a perfect news spot for that. But if I told him to get up here and talk to the class,
it wouldn't have been as...
He would have stood there and read a paragraph and called it done.
Exactly, yeah.
So you've got to give people the freedom to be who they are, and that's really hard when you've got teenagers. It's really hard when your kids are not conforming to what your ideals are. So we just have to understand they've got their own.
But even in the workplace, these are really great tips for managing life, because
yes,
it's really hard to be an adult and be a procrastinator.
Yeah, it is, because there's nobody else going to come clean it up.
Exactly.
You have to pick up that weight yourself. I also hope that these are really good for my secretary, because I told her when I hired her, your first job is to manage me, and I do procrastinate. And she comes in and says, have you done this thing? Did you get me this information that I needed from you? Do you need me to call them for you? And I'm like, no, I'll do it myself, because, I can't ask for help. I'm the perfectionist. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank y'all so much for listening today. Let's check out another one of our sponsors.
Hey, this is Stephanie. You already know that I am the owner and director of Futures Academy here in Victoria, Texas. We serve grades 5 through 12, and we are a different kind of school for kids who have not found success elsewhere. Or maybe you've been homeschooled or met up with some difficult times in public school, and mom and dad just need a little extra help for a while. Give us a call. Our number is 361-433-0322, and we will let you know how we can help.
Thank y'all so much for listening to another episode this week. You can find us everywhere you listen to podcasts, and on Instagram, Facebook, and maybe YouTube. Are we doing YouTube?
I don't know if we're doing YouTube yet. We'll get back to you on that one. Next week when we get around to it.
Yeah. Mom, do you have $20? Because I've been procrastinating putting the gas in the car.
Will you leave if I give you $20?
Yes.